Welcome, everybody. This reminds me of church. Nobody's sitting in the front row. So if you want a comfortable seat, you're welcome to sit in these nice cushioned seats if you'd like. First of all, thank you for being here. My name is Brian Connick. I teach at Algona High School. I'm a member of the Wall of Fame committee here at the high school. I want to take a minute for a couple of thank yous, but really we're here to celebrate and honor the induction of some great Algona Bulldogs tonight. Before I get started, I want to take just a brief moment to thank all those that have helped in any way with the Wall of Fame, from nominations to selections to setting up. Many hands make light work, and so there's a lot of folks involved with this, and your help is really appreciated. I also want to make sure I thank the Booster Club. We've flipped around our direction tonight. You can see this beautiful trophy case behind me. This is a big help from the Booster Club, and you've probably already noticed a lot of changes in our school. The support for everything Algona Bulldog is really amazing. Also want to thank Jeff Gish and his crew, not just for getting ready tonight, but every single day. As you guys know, this place is in great shape, and we love to show it off to people, right? Sometimes we take it for granted. The hope of the Wall of Fame committee is that the Wall of Fame can serve as a way to recognize greatness in the area of athletics at AHS and beyond, but also to serve as an inspiration for our current student athletes. There's something really powerful, I believe, about knowing that someone accomplished great things and they came out of the same place that you're currently going to school. Right? I think that's really valuable, and I believe this is a message that resonates with our student body. I see them oftentimes looking at our Wall of Fame, messing around with our kiosk, looking at school records and things like that. It's really a cool thing. Tonight, we are inducting 3 individuals and 2 teams that achieved great success at Algona High School. We are so honored to welcome you as the 2025 class of the Algona High School Wall of Fame. Inductees, we're going to have presenters come up for each of you. It won't be me. And when they call your name, we'd like you to come up, and they're going to say some nice things about you. Please make sure you take as many pictures as you want, audience. This is a night of celebration. After the ceremony, I'll probably remind you of this a couple times. After the ceremony, we'd like the inductees to meet with Mr. Yee to take a group picture. After the ceremony, there's a tour for those that are interested. Mr. Carter over here, our superintendent, is going to show you around. There's a few things that have changed since you went to school here, okay? Just a couple. And we're really proud to show it off. Again, thank you for being here. We're going to go ahead and get started. To start us off, we're going to have Mr. Greg Stewart come up with our first induction. Thank you.
We're starting off tonight by going way back, 100 years back. And I'm wondering, before I get started, is there anyone here tonight that's a descendant of any members of the team of 1925? If you would come up for us. You see Myers on the back of her sweatshirt, so there's a good clue. Dennis Myers is already in the Hall of Fame, Wall of Fame, and was let you hold plaque here. Was an inductee a few years ago, played for the Iowa Hawkeyes, and then went on to play for the Chicago Bears as well. But he was a member of this 1925 team that I'm going to talk about just a little bit. Our other inductees tonight, most of us have had the opportunity to work with or watch. Clearly, the class of 1925 is not one of them. 100 years ago, this fall, the Algona High School football team embarked on what would become a very special season that has placed them in Algona's all-time record book. The 1925 season was much different than today. Students attended the Bryant High School building with football practice starting in September. With no field lighting, day games were played, typically on Saturday afternoons, and primarily in October and November. Schools were not divided into classes, so comparisons of teams and individual players was done statewide among all schools. Since there were no playoffs, state championships were earned by impressing large newspaper sports editors, primarily Jack North of the Des Moines Register. Now let me take you on a quick trip back to 1925. There was reason for optimism heading into the season, as the Bulldogs were coming off a conference championship in 1924 and had some key players returning from that 5-2-2 team. The season opened at Athletic Park Field, now Central Park, with a 33-0 win over Britt, followed by another shutout, a 38-0 romp over Hampton. The Franklin County Recorder recognized the AHS potential and made an accurate early prediction by writing the following game. Algona dominated the line and ran our ends wild. They have a team capable of going undefeated and look as if they could be state champions. That was after 2 games. Clearly, after 2 weeks, Algona had made a real impression. Early in the season, Mason City was cited by sports writers as being one of the 5 best teams in Iowa. This presented an early challenge for the Bulldogs, as a trip to Mason City was Algona's 3rd game of the year. In what was billed as a well-played, great contest, the Bulldogs prevailed 17-14. Now at 3-0, with a win over a top team, the Bulldogs had the full attention of state pundits. The next week, Algona headed to Spencer to take on another unbeaten team on a cold, windy day. Community enthusiasm and school spirit were evident as approximately 100 made the trip west on what would have been unpaved roads at the time. The Spencer News-Herald had this post-game report. This is a classic, I think. Various Algona Fords, considerably dilapidated, arrived Saturday morning, highly painted up with various slogans, not all of them complimentary to Spencer's football ability. The use of red barn paint in spots and the addition of crepe paper streamers completed the decorative scheme of certain of the invaders. With the support of their dedicated fans, a strong ground game, and a stingy defense, Algona registered their 3rd shutout in 4 games, 20-0. Next was another road trip victory, this time at Esterville, 33-2. This game is notable for a special accomplishment by the 1925 team, establishing a mascot name for the opponent. Many of you know Esterville is known as the Midgets. The word has always been that this came from an early sport writer article where he referred to the players as midgets, and the name stuck. In reading a game summary of the October 28 Esterville Enterprise, sure enough, there it was. A quote in the story: "Our boys look like midgets beside the Algona bunch." So it appears that not only were the 1925 Bulldogs an outstanding team, they were directly involved in establishing the unique Estherville mascot that endures a century later. Next, Algona's record moved to 6-0 and then 7-0 with consecutive shutouts of Humboldt 34-0 and a previously unbeaten Clarion team 14-0. This set up yet another clash of unbeatens with Emmitsburg, who was having their best season in years. While Algona turned the ball over at the 5-yard line and again late in the game at the 3-yard line, the defense continued to hold, got the ball back. The Bulldogs drove the field down to the 20 and kicked the winning field goal, 10-7. At 8-0 now, Algona stood as one of just a few unbeaten teams in the state. Although there was still another game to play, excuse me, Jack North, editor of the Des Moines Register sports section, aimed to avoid the debates of previous years and declared 4 teams to be worthy of the title 1925 state champion. In naming Algona first, he said, they had a wonderful and heavy team which waded through stiff opposition to win all 8 of its games. In addition, he named 3 Bulldogs to his all-state teams. Denny Myers, first team end. Lloyd Bohannon, first team tackle. And Paul Trotter, third team running back. No team in the state had more players so recognized. Of course, Algona's season wasn't quite over. The annual Thanksgiving Day game with Eagle Grove, this year on their field, was still a week away. Eagle had 60 men out for football and was enjoying a strong season. Advance tickets were available for the game, 50 cents for adults, which, by the way, is equivalent of $9.23 today. The Eagles were primed to play spoiler, but as the Eagle Grove Eagle noted in their post-game report, Algona was just too powerful and big, with their giant end, Myers, weighing in at 205 pounds. Times have changed. Algona took the Turkey Day game 35-0. This final game clinched the North Central 6 title for a second year and cemented Mr. North's designation of the Bulldogs as state champions. At season's end then, the 1925 Algona football team had won a second consecutive North Central 6 title. The traveling trophy is here. In fact, right down here at the end. Algona won it the 3rd time in 1927 and got to keep it, and it's still here. They finished 9-0, the only Algona team in history to go unbeaten and untied. They won 9 games, the only age team to do that until 2018. The team matched that total 93 years later. They allowed opponents only 23 points all year, Algona's second lowest defensive average of all time. They earned the 5th highest average margin of victory in Algona history. They have 3 players named All-State where there were no classes. And of course, they were indeed named state champions by Jack North of the Des Moines Register. Their head coach was Chick Sutherland, assistant was William Smith, and the lineup was made up of Edward Van Trees, center, right guard George Miller, left guard Paul Hutchins, right tackle Julius Winkle, left tackle Lloyd Bohannon, right end Dennis Myers, left end William Dewey, quarterback Mel Peterson, running back Paul Trotter, fullback Walter Lichter, and linebacker Kenneth Stevenson. Other roster players that we have identified included Wade Kuhn, Holman Anderson, Wallace Evans, James Africa, Richard Vaughn, Wayne Keith, Maynard Stevenson, Paul Geilenfeld, plus players with last names of Clark, Johnson, and Tierney. The 1925 Algona High School football team was truly a special team and truly deserving of this honor. And congratulations to your relationship to Dennis Myers is?
Marsha.
Your name is Marcia, and
Yeah, he was my great uncle.
great uncle, Dennis Myers. Congratulations on holding up that plaque. Next up, Mr. Dave Rozanki is going to make our next presentation.
Okay, our next inductee would be Eric Duster. If you'd come up, please. Eric Duster was a standout performer for the Bulldogs in the late 90s. As a senior, he averaged 20 points and 9 rebounds per game. Duster turned in a stellar performance at the 1999 state tournament, ending as the leading scorer and the second leading rebounder in the tournament, earning recognition as a member of the Class 3A All-Tournament team and outdueling former and future NBA star Kyle Korver in the first-round upset of Pella. Duster went on to play for 4 years at Winona State University. I've got one story I'd like to tell everybody that shows his character and confidence that a lot of players don't have. He happened to have both. We played Pella in the first round of the tournament. They were ranked #1 in the state. We were seeded 8th at the tournament. Pella, of course, was seeded #1. During practice, we talked about if we could hold Korver to 15 points at the state tournament. He was averaging 25. We had beat him. The whole time I'm saying to myself, okay. Anyway, at the tournament, our guy, this guy, scores 30. Their guy, Korver, scored 16. So, towards the end of the game, I've got to set this up. I'm a Cleveland Indian fan. It's hard to say Guardians. But in the movie Major League, at the end of the game, Cleveland's playing the New York Yankees, and they haven't beaten the New York Yankees all year. So they have a runner on, Cleveland has a runner on second base, bottom of the 9th inning. They have, coming up to bat, catcher Jake Taylor, who had 2 bad knees and probably couldn't get to first before he was put out anyway. But he was standing at the plate, and he points out to center field like this, like Babe Ruth supposedly did, and said to the third base coach, he said, "I'm going to bunt." And he told the third base coach to send that to the manager. The manager got it and said, "That's a heck of an idea." So he did bunt, and the runner did score from second, and Cleveland beat the Yankees in that movie Major League. So getting to the story here, we're playing Pella. We're up 2 with about a minute to go. We have the ball. We usually, not usually, we did have the same player take the ball out of bounds all the time. That way the kids got used to the same person taking the ball out all the time. And it was this guy that took it out all the time. So we were on propellers into the floor. I called a timeout in the huddle. I didn't get a word out of my mouth, and this guy says, "Coach, have somebody else take the ball out of bounds, get it into me, I'll make both free throws." And I'm going, that's a heck of an idea. So that's what we did. The kid had more confidence and know what to do with and character. He went up to the line, sank both free throws. We ended up winning by 4. So somebody like that deserves to be in the Wall of Fame.
Thank you, Coach Rizanki, for the introduction, and I also want to thank the committee and its members for this recognition here today. Even though this is an individual honor, I would not be here without the support of my teammates, some who are here, all of our families, our coaches, and most importantly, my parents. Win or lose, they have provided me with unwavering support throughout my athletic career, whether it was traveling countless hours for practices, tryouts, tournaments, and games, or just being there for me no matter the situation. All of those people have shaped me into the man I am today, and I couldn't be more grateful. I'm happy to have my sisters, my wife, 2 of my 3 daughters, Ivy and Lola, here to see me accept this great honor. And thank you again to everyone that has been part of this amazing journey. I'm humbled to be a part of our school's legacy.
All right, our next inductee is John Stroman. If we could have John come up. It's my pleasure to introduce John Stroman into the Algona High School Wall of Fame for his outstanding accomplishments as a wrestler and his contributions to the success of the Bulldog Wrestling program. John Stroman graduated from Algona High School in 1980. During his high school wrestling career, he compiled a record of 113 wins and just 5 losses, finishing with a career win percentage of 95%, which ranks second all-time in school history. I think it's important to note that of those 5 losses, John only had 1 regular season loss at the North Central Conference Tournament. His other 4 came in the state semifinals or the state championship of the state tournament. He was a 4-time state place winner, finishing as a state runner-up twice and placing 3rd twice, and remains the only 4-time state place winner in school history. In the 1970s, the North Central Conference was the gold standard of wrestling in the state of Iowa, and Algona set the bar. John was a 3-time North Central Conference champion and helped lead Algona to 3 consecutive North Central Conference team championships from 1978 to 1980. John holds the school record for the most career tournament championships with 24, and at the time of his graduation also held a career wins record of 113, which stood for 23 years. In addition to his individual success, John was a key contributor to 3 top 10 state tournament team finishes, including the 1980 state championship team. John Stroman's name remains a prominent part of Algona wrestling history, and his records and achievements continue to be recognized decades after his graduation. It's with great pride that we welcome John Stroman into the Algona High School Wall of Fame.
I want to thank everyone for this great opportunity. Of course, Chris and Nick. You know, when I came here, even tonight, I just think of the heritage of wrestling at Algona. And when we would have the pictures of those guys before us, and literally when my brother comes up, oh, and here's Paul Martin. Hi, Paul. I'm John Strowman. I mean, I remember watching this guy, you know, this little guy, and you know, and I'm seeing Judy over here. Of course, I remember, you know, her brother when he was here helping coach, and I literally can remember him sitting in my corner when it was in a semifinal match, and I was pounding the guy, everything was going fine, and all of a sudden, this guy locked me up in a grab me roll. And I'm like, you know, and my mom, you know, way up at the top of you know, Veterans Auditorium, says to my dad, he's in trouble. No, he's fine. I was in trouble. And Randy, you know, I'm trying to pull it out. And I can to this day see Randy go, jerk. And I pulled it out. And I'm thankful for that. Of course, Fritz started us in junior high. And to this day, I am thankful I can parallel park because of Fritz Nelson. Okay. So anyway, the tremendous legacy here, the tremendous opportunities you folks gave me, the tremendous coaching, run into Dale Barr tonight. I got to tell you this. I'm over in South Dakota, and you know, and these guys, you know, I help some. I know some of the young wrestlers and stuff like that, and I tell them, I say, well, you know, yeah, that's good. Oh, this guy, you know, he wrestled at South Dakota State. He was our coach, and you know, he helped at some camp or whatever. And I'm thinking of the camps I'm at with Dave Martin, Roderick, and all these guys and everything else. And I said, guys, it isn't the same as we had over in Iowa. I'm getting a little braggy. And I said, no, I mean, the training, the experiences we had, and of course, back in the day, Dale, the season would be over, and we'd have 5th and 6th grade wrestling, and he'd come down, of course, and help with it or whatever. I think, well, you know, maybe. I said, oh, no, guys, we had top echelon coaching when we were even little. And you go, oh, you know. I said, let me give you an example. My 5th and 6th grade coach ended up being the head coach at Michigan. And that's the case. So thank you so much. Thank you for all the encouragement and all that Bulldog wrestling and sports mean. I see the new facilities, fantastic. Thank you so much, folks.
All right, we're going to stay with some wrestling here. Next up is the 1972 Class 3A State Wrestling Champions. Could have you guys come up, everybody that's a part of that team. The 1972 state team title race was a battle of the North Central Conference. The Bulldogs finished on top, winning their 3rd state championship in 4 years, and besting runner-up Clarion by 2.5 points, followed closely by Humble and Eagle Grove in 3rd and 4th place. The state championship team consisted of Scott Buchanan, who finished 5th place, Randy Nielsen was a state runner-up, state champions Paul Martin and Gene Hunt, as well as managers Mike Coop, Cal Carson, head coach Dale Barr, and assistant coach Ron Tierhark. Before turning it over to Coach Barr, I'd like to share a message from assistant coach Ron Tierhark. Congratulations on being chosen for the Algona High School Wall of Fame. It was a pleasure working with you guys. You worked hard and you succeeded. We had a lot of fun also. I have nothing but good memories of those years. I'd love to be with you tonight, but I can't due to my Parkinson's. Congratulations. Here to share a few words now about this great team is Coach Dale Barr.
Thanks for those words. Thank the committee for choosing our team for the Wall of Fame. They're an outstanding, it was an outstanding team and outstanding individuals, and we appreciate you thinking of us. I'm going to mention a couple of these guys, or all of these guys individually. Everybody, they're legends in our town, in your town, my former town. How's that? They're legends, and they're legends to me too. I've coached here, I coached at Iowa State, I coached at Michigan for 21 years. These are my favorite group of guys right here. These guys are outstanding, and we had a great time, and we wrestled hard. First, Gene Hunt. Gene Hunt was a two-time state champion, missed out on 3. One of the outstanding wrestlers that ever wrestled at Algona High School. I think there's only one person that's won more state titles while they wrestled here at Algona than Gene. Of course, his brother was also a great wrestler, Dwayne, who had graduated a year or so before. Gene Hunt. Give Gene a hand. There's not too many two-timers. There's not too many two-timers. It's hard to do. The next guy I want to introduce is Paul Martin of the famous Martin family. Paul went through the 4 years of high school, the same 4 years that I was here. He made it to the state meet as a freshman and won 3 state titles. No one at Algona has ever won 3 state championship titles except for Paul Martin. And he also went on to Oklahoma State, where he's a 3-time NCAA All-American and wrestled for the Cowpokes. The next one, and I want to recognize the lady back there with the camera, Judy Nielsen. Judy, right back here, raise your hand. Let's give Judy a hand. Judy's brother, Randy, was on the team. He was a state runner-up that year. He had lost to Dave Morgan from Eagle Grove in the finals in overtime. He beat Morgan 6 out of 8 times during their career. And yet he couldn't quite get past him in the state tournament. But he was an important part of our team and getting to the finals and getting second. And the next guy is Scott Buchanan. Scott, step up. Now this guy, you know, for a while he just kind of hid in the back of the room. His freshman and sophomore years. He was kind of in the action, but not in the action. And then he got a chance to wrestle. And then he made it to the state meet his senior year. And ended up, I think he lost his first round and came all the way back, got 5th place. His 2 or 3 points that he got for 5th place was the difference in us winning the tournament and not winning the tournament. So I give Scott a ton of credit for coming out of nowhere, placing 5th in the state, and helping us win the state title. And then the next guy looks like a basketball player on the end, Mike Koo. Mike was our statistician and part-time manager. We had another manager. This guy was as close to our team as any other teammate here. In fact, you can tell that because he flew all the way from Idaho to come back for this ceremony. But I kind of counted on Mike this last year or so. My dog was sick, and he's a veterinarian. And I would call Mike about every 2 weeks. Well, my dog's doing this and my dog's doing that. What do I do for him, you know? And he helped me out a lot, so I give him a lot of credit for that. Now talk about Algona wrestling. I think the golden age of Algona wrestling, at least while I was here, was from about 1965 to 1980. Algona won 6 state championships, and I think besides the 6 state titles they won, they probably were second or third in the other particular years. 15 years, 6 titles. How many schools this size can say that? Not many. And generally finish in the top 3. When you think, and I've been in Michigan, I've been in Iowa State, when you think of Algona and their athletic department, and I'm prejudiced because I'm a wrestling coach, but they always ask you, oh, don't they have great wrestling up there? They always say that. Algona is known for its wrestling program. And wrestling has won 7 state titles since 1960. And all other sports have won 4 state titles combined, all the other sports. So they've dominated wrestling in the North Central Conference. I want to congratulate the 2025 team for winning the state dual championship. I'm still proud as I can be because they're winners. I feel like I'm still a part of the program. My final thought, congratulations to all of the members of the 1972 team. I mean everybody from the last guy that walked in the wrestling room to the worst wrestler to the best wrestler. Every guy was a part of that championship team. These guys represented those guys and how hard everybody worked in the room. I've always said, everywhere I've coached, it's not only the frontline wrestlers that are a part of your key to success, it's the people that are pushing them from behind. And that's what makes Algona wrestling good. In fact, you know, the years after that, we were state champions again, and state champions, because these guys are coming through the program from junior high to freshman to sophomore, and all of a sudden they're in the state meet winning state titles. It's everybody on the team. In fact, Bo Schembeckler, the famous football coach at University of Michigan, he has a saying, and sometimes you hear announcers on television talk about that. The team, the team, the team. Everybody, you know, that's the important. The team, the team, the team. It's not individuals. And I truly believe that. Everybody pushes everybody. Thank you.
Okay, we'll have Brian Rodemeyer come up and present our next Wall of Fame inductee.
First of all, I think we owe Mr. Connick and the Wall of Fame Committee a round of applause for putting It's an honor for me to introduce Mr. Brad Heitman. Come on up, Brad. Hey. I've had the pleasure of knowing Mr. Heitman for a long time. We both played against each other in high school. He was a Clear Lake athlete, and I was a Hampton athlete, and he won't admit this, but we kicked his butt. See, he won't admit it. Coach Heitman started his college career at Wartburg. A lot of people don't know that, but he went to Wartburg and played baseball with my brother. and Coach Warburg told him he couldn't bunt, so he transferred to UNI. I think that was the reason. He also, another interesting fact about Coach Heitland is that his roommate at UNI was the former athletic director at UNI, Rick Hartzell, who was a Division I basketball official for many years, and he roomed with Brad, I don't know, for 1 or 2 years maybe, until he kicked you out. Coach Heitland started his career in coaching at Missouri Thornton, and he spent 1 year there, and believe it or not, he coached 6 different sports his first year. Think about that. Everything from junior high football, junior high basketball, girls basketball, you name it, he coached it that first year. I think that drove him out, so he moved on from Missouri Thornton. He went to Ventura High School, where he spent 7 years at Ventura. He was the head football coach, and he was the head girls basketball coach and athletic director at Ventura. He then moved to Algona in 1982 and became the head coach in football and boys track. Some of his major accomplishments, which I think are amazing when you think about what Brad did here at Algona and Ventura for that matter. As the head football coach, his career record was 135 wins and 112 losses. And when you consider he only played 9 or 10 games a season, 135 wins is a lot of wins. He had 3 conference football championships as the head coach at Ventura. He led the Bulldogs to 4 state football playoff appearances. In 1984, they were a state semifinalist. And back in those days, teams qualified on points. You had to win so many games, and you got points for who you beat, and so forth and so on. And it wasn't just the first and second place, and so forth and so on, that makes the playoffs. Back then, you had to accumulate points. And to get to the 84 state semifinals was a great accomplishment. In 87, they were quarterfinalists. In 1995, they were a playoff participant. And in 2004, they were a playoff participant. Brad was also the Iowa Football Coaches 3A District Coach of the Year in 1994. He was the head coach of the North Squad, which is the All-Star Iowa Shrine Bowl in 1998. And for 11 years, Brad was the president of the Iowa Football Coaches Association, which represents a lot of respect across the state from the Football Coaches Association to be their president for 11 years. He was inducted into the Iowa Football Coaches Hall of Fame in 2000. Again, a phenomenal honor. As the head track coach at Algona High School for 16 years, Brad won 6 consecutive North Central Conference championships from 96 to 2001. 6 straight championships. I think that's a record. I didn't look it up, but I believe that's a record in the North Central Conference. He led the Bulldogs to the Class 3A State Track Championship in 1993. And also, as a result, he was the 3A Iowa State Track Coach of the Year in 1993. He was the Iowa Track Coaches Association Regional Coach of the Year in 2001. And back in 1984, Brad spearheaded the construction of the new track. We used to have remember the old asphalt cinder tracks? Well, Brad was the leader of a committee that spearheaded the construction of that new all-weather track back in those days. And I truly believe that that's one of the things that started the wonderful facilities Algona has to this day that you see out there, was getting that track built. And it was his leadership that resulted in that track being built. So ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce Mr. Coach Brad Heitland to the Wall of Fame.
I'm glad that Greg Stewart started off with that 1925 football team, because I have a counterpart over at Garrigan, since retired athletic director, and when he saw that I was getting recognized for the Wall of Fame, he sent me a text and said, were you part of the coaching staff back then on that team? I'm not that. thanks, Brian, Wall of Fame. I think you know how I feel about what you've done with this and how I feel about it in the position that I had as athletic director and as a coach of the school. It's an honor and a privilege to be a part of this recognition. There's a lot of great people up there, a lot of great teams that we have already acknowledged. As I always said, we need to honor the past to promote the future. Came to Algona in 1982. 30 years later, I retired. I was a lucky person to land here in Algona and teach at this school. I can always remember coming from a smaller school. We had our house over on East Nebraska, and I took off for the first day. We had a couple weeks of football practice, got to know some of the people. I was really nervous about our first day. I walked to work, because I lived close enough, bought a house close enough, walking down the street, and there were all kinds of cars in the parking lot, and I started to walk faster, and I started to jog, and look, I'm late. Oh my God, I'm late. I failed to realize in a school this size, there's all kinds of morning activities going on. And it was all the kids that were parked in the parking lot. So I hit the panic button that first day. But I was lucky, because I got to do for 38 years what I love to do. There were no 2 days alike. Every day was a new challenge. Every team was a new challenge. And it was I was probably one of the luckiest persons to be able to do what I enjoyed doing. I was able to do that because I had a wife that supported what I did. When you have a wife as a coach, you need that support, because they go through the highs, they go through the lows. They go through the wins and the losses. And she was with me every step of the way, and supported me every step in that journey. And the third thing, the reason I was lucky, is every day I walked in this building, every day I walked on the field, I worked with people that were professional. I was really a lucky guy, because some of the people that are up there as coaches, I was able to get to know as a part of this staff when I came here to Algona High School. 23 years coaching football. We had some good years, we had some great years, we had some lean years. I was very fortunate to work with some very good people as coaches. And one of the things that I can say in all 23 years, whether it was a lean year, a great year, or a good year, there was never a game that the kids didn't work hard and give me great effort every Friday night. If that's all you can ask of your kids, then that's all you can expect. And if they can give you that kind of effort, you're going to be successful, win or lose. We may have been outmatched, but I will tell you, and I can say this with all my heart, that we never got outplayed as far as what those kids did on the field and how they competed. In track, we built a program around the team concept. The athletes bought in, and we had something special going on. One of the goals I had, we won that first conference championship. We won the second one. And then there was that team down south called Humboldt that had won 5 straight. That was the record at the time. And I wanted to get 6. Because I wanted Algona to be better than Humboldt. No offense to the people down south. We were able to get that done. I think since then, and since that time, since I retired, I think we might have surpassed that, because we've been very successful. That state championship team, 1993, was a high. Not that all the other years weren't. And as you've heard up here, and if you come to these things, people don't realize how hard it is to win a state championship in any sport, be it an individual or a team. Everything has to go right. The breaks have to happen your way. All kinds of other factors. We had a bunch of good kids, and we got the job done and won a state championship. And that's one of the things as an athletic director, I told our coaches when they made the state tournament or did something like that, or when we won the state cross country, enjoy it, savor the moment. You never know if it's going to happen again. And last, the number of years as AD that I spent, this was a very special place, and I tried to do everything I could to make sure that our programs were run the way that they should be run to represent the community. I was very lucky. I worked with great coaches who coached with the right priorities, keeping the kids first and doing it the right way. And hopefully that carried on, and I feel that's success. Wins and losses is success if you do things the right way. And the other thing that I saw as an athletic director, and I saw as I coached, was the great support that this community has for this school. And I think you see by the facilities that we have added to this place. I took somebody into the tunnel, for those that can remember it, when we were going through and going around and seeing the new additions. I put my hands here, and it was about up to there. I said, this is where we started when I came in 1982 with one universal weight machine, and look where we've come. Community support, because people have pride in what we do and what we're doing. As athletic director, we had an all sports award. We had 12 sports, and you're recognized as the all sports champion of the conference on how you finish in each sport. You got so many points total. My goal was to win them all. I didn't care about anybody else. I wanted every 10 points to be on Algona's ledger. We didn't get it done, but in quite a few years we were first and second in most all those 12 sports. And I felt that winning is one byproduct of doing things the right way, and that was a gauge of whether we're doing things right or not. So to finish up, I just want to tell you that Algona is a special place. It's made up of people. Yeah, there's 4 walls and a lot of facilities, but it's the people. As I said when I came up here tonight, it's the people that make the place. And I was very fortunate to come into a staff that was very professional, come into with some great coaches that helped mentor me throughout the years. And I'm very thankful that I got to be a part and have an opportunity to teach and coach in this school. Thanks again to all the athletes that I coached, all the coaches that coached with me, all the staff members that I had the pleasure to be a part of as a member of this staff, all the parents, and I see some of you out here that supported us in our programs as I coached throughout the years. Thanks to the Wall of Fame committee. It's a wonderful recognition and honor, and go Dogs. Thank you.
I don't know if you noticed how everybody was pretty polite until Mr. Rodemeyer got up and started taking shots. I mean, that was, I loved it. Congratulations on your induction. Thank you everybody for being here. A couple things, and I think this is really valuable and it speaks to what Coach Heitman said. I got a call today in my classroom, and I had to look up the directions on how to listen to my message, because I always forget. Call was from Mary Hanover, and everybody knows Mary. And Mary would say congratulations and go Bulldogs. So that was a call I got tonight, so I'm going to pass that on to you. She says, please tell them, but if you don't want to, you don't have to, but I want to make sure I tell everybody. Again, thanks for being here. Mr. Carter is right back here. He's going to do a tour. Before you go on the tour, Mr. Yee is going to take pictures in front of the podium here of all the individuals or the groups. If you don't want to, if you want to get to the game, this is really important. I'm kind of flustered right now. I need to meet the inductees at the track a little before 6:40, 6:40. They're going to do an on-the-track recognition, okay? If you want to do the tour now, Mr. Carter is going to lead that. If you're like, hey, I want to go get a bite to eat, you should have a meal ticket. If you don't have a meal ticket and you're an inductee, come see Mr. McLaughlin. Mr. McLaughlin will also give a tour at halftime to anybody that's interested. He'll meet you by the loading dock at halftime. So you got 2 opportunities. So again, thank you so much. I appreciate everybody being here. We'll see you at 6:40 on the track. Have a great night. Go Bulldogs.